Hello, I'm John, welcome to my channel, Disquiet and Dragons. In today's video I'm going to be doing the Intimidating TBR Booktube tag. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope wherever you are in the world you're doing well and having an awesome day. Before we get to the tag, I just wanted to say it was quite a big week for the channel this week. On Monday I passed the 100 subscriber mark, so I just wanted to say to everyone who's ever watched the video, subscribed, liked or left me a lovely comment, I just want to say I really appreciate it. I never thought in a million years I'd get to this point, and yeah, I've really been enjoying just wandering around the countryside and chatting to you all, and yeah, really appreciate it, so thank you ever so much. Thank you. So I was kindly tagged by Traben's Tomes in the Intimidating TBR Booktube tag. Unfortunately, I don't know who created the tag, but if I do find out, I'll put it in one of the comments or the description or something. The first prompt on this tag is, which book were you unable to finish? And shamefully, I've got to say, The Return of the King. I just never got round to finishing it. I got about halfway through. I read The Hobbit when I was about 13, 14, something like that, and then I think I was about early 20s or so, mid 20s, and I heard that the Lord of the Rings films were coming out, so I thought I'll read the first book before the first film comes out, and I'll read the book before the second, and so on. And I got to The Return of the King, and I read about halfway through, and it was just walking and more walking and more walking, and unfortunately I didn't really get on with it, so I just waited for the film. I recently listened to the audiobook of The Hobbit, which was amazing, and I've got the Fellowship of the Ring to listen to, so I will get to Return of the King, but probably on audiobook. So the way this tag works, from now on, is there's one question, which is what book have you yet to read because, and then there's like several little extra questions on it, so I'll do a couple at a time at each location I stop off at now. So the next one is prompt 2, what book have you yet to read because you just haven't had the time? And seeing as it's referencing time, I'm going to go with A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I just haven't got round to it. I bought it earlier on this year. I saw it, the town that I live near, it's got a little market on a Saturday, and there's a second-hand bookstore, and I always have a look if I go down, and it had this book which I've been wanting to pick up for a while, and yeah, I've bought it and just never got round to reading it. I would imagine when I do, I would imagine it'll be a really interesting, intriguing read, and it'll probably boggle my mind for the entirety of its reading length, but hey, it's worth a go, isn't it? And prompt 3 is, what book have you yet to read because it's a sequel? And for that one I'm going to go with Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. When I got back into reading again, probably about 8 years ago, something like that, I went on Audible. I thought, I enjoy horror, but I want to read some fantasy again. So I looked, and the first one that came up was The Way of Kings, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll be a good starting point for me. Yeah, little did I know it's not the best book for beginners. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a wonderful book, and I have got Words of Radiance, but it's been that long since I read The Way of Kings. I want to read it again before I carry on with the series. So the next prompt is, what book have you yet to read because it's brand new? And that would be Horror Story by Paul Tremblay. The only reason is, and it's a bit of a daft reason, it's only just come out and I want to wait until it comes out in paperback so it can match my other Paul Tremblay books. Really looking forward to it. The books of his that I've read have been superb so far. They're always a 4.5, 5-star read. The Cabin at the End of the World, absolutely amazing. If you want a novel that's full of atmosphere and really tense and got that creeping sense of dread to it, yeah, check it out. But I'm very much looking forward to Horror Story. And the next book is, what book have you yet to read because you read a book by the same author and did not like it? And I'm yet to read, I'm going to have to look at my notes, it's a long title. Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. I read his book, The Trees Grew Because We Bled There, I think it's called. And it's nothing against his writing, he's a great writer. I just don't think he's for me. I think, especially with modern horror movies, not so much modern horror novels, they seem to have no likeable characters. There weren't many characters in the book that I have read that I liked, and when it comes to horror, I like to have at least one person that I want to root for. I think that's why the final girl works so well, because they're always really likeable and you want them to escape the killer. But yeah, in Eric LaRocca's work that I've read so far, his other books might be completely different. All the characters, yeah, you just want them to get the endings that they get. Not very nice, not very nice people at all. But yeah, unfortunately that was a book that I didn't enjoy. So we're on to prompt number 6 now, and that is, what book have you yet to read because you're just not in the mood for it? And that is Wonders of the Solar System and Universe by Professor Brian Cox. I'm a mood reader, so I really have to be in the mood for whatever I'm reading at the time, and I tend to read more fiction than non-fiction. So it's one of those books that I bought because I watched the TV show. I thought it was wonderful. I love how Brian Cox has this ability to explain really interesting and complex subjects in a way that absolutely anybody can understand. I think it's such a cool thing when someone that intelligent just wants to share their knowledge with everyone. So I watched the TV show and I was in the bookshop. I think it was WH Smith's, and they had the accompanying BBC book for, I think it was £8 I bought it for. It was reduced from like 30 or something, and it's this beautiful big chunky book. It's got some wonderful photos in it. I've flicked through it before now because, you know, pictures are nice to look at, but I haven't sat down and read it yet. I really do need to change that, as it looks like it'll be a wonderful book. And prompt 7, what book have you yet to read? Because it's humongous, and that is The Terror by Dan Simmons. I recently managed to get it on my Kindle. It was on a daily deal for 99p, and I love Dan Simmons. I love his writing. He's a brilliant author, but I just haven't got around to reading The Terror yet. I think I might save it until December or January. I think it'd be a good winter read, but I am very much looking forward to it. If his other books are anything to go by, I'm going to have an absolute blast with this one. So we're on to the last few prompts now, and number 8 is, what book have you yet to read because it was a cover buy but had bad reviews? Short answer, this one: I never read reviews of books that I want to read. If it's something that sounds intriguing to me or by an author I like already, doesn't matter if it gets a bad review, I'm going to read it anyway. And we're on to prompt 9, which is, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR pile? And I'm going to go with Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. Not because the book in itself is particularly intimidating. I am looking forward to reading it. It's just that I know it's a 9-book series, and each book is quite a chunky book. So I'm very bad at starting series and just not carrying on with them. There's a trail of book ones in my wake. So eventually I'll get to it, because the majority of them are on my shelves, but not quite sure when I'll get to it. But I've heard nothing but good things about the Expanse series, so I'm sure I will enjoy it when I get to it. And we're on to the final prompt, which is tag some friends. So I'm going to go ahead and tag some of my Booktube friends. Justin at Read More Books, Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems, Mark at That Book Thing, and Nikhil at Shelf Esteem. As always, there's absolutely no obligation to complete the tag. I know we've all got our own video ideas and time constraints and everything, or you may have done the tag already. Also, if you're watching this and like the sound of this tag, please consider yourself tagged. So that's about it for this video. I've hoped you've enjoyed walking around Chasewater with me. It's turned out to be a lovely day actually, so yeah, really glad I came out. As always, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying what you're reading. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.